To this now, the Western Cape government is currently pushing ahead to mitigate power cuts in 2023. The province has installed numerous solar panels to harness green energy. And Saldanha Bay, Stellenbosch, George, as well as the city of Cape Town are already using independent power producers to reduce reliance on Eskom. So what are the plans for this year? Premier Alan Winde speaks to us now just to give us an update. Premier, thank you so much for your time and good morning to you. Take us through what plans you have in place, of course, for the year 2023. This after we've heard from, energy experts saying it's about to get a lot worse in terms of our energy crisis in the country compared to last year.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think something that we've been working on for a very long time. If I think back to the 1 megawatt ceiling that was in place where small embedded generation could be brought in. We worked very hard over the last few years. More than 135 megawatts have come in. That's probably more than 3,000 small independent power producers that are producing their own power for their own needs, as well as putting into the grid system in the city of Cape Town. I think we all know they already mitigate 2 levels of load shedding. But listening to the specialists, as well as our own engagements with Eskom, saying that this year ahead, we are probably going to have worse load shedding than we experienced last year. Last year, more than 3,600 hours or more than 200 days of load shedding. Our economy cannot deal with that. So we already have a plan in place because the 100 megawatt ceiling that was lifted from 1 to 100 at municipal level created a number of opportunities. The city of Cape Town already gone out for its first round of tenders. That was on 200 megawatts. And I hear that it's actually in excess of the 200, which is really good news. They'll be going out again early in this year for the next round. We're enabling, as you said, those other municipalities. So the province has been putting budget aside to enable those municipalities. If I look at the overall picture for this year, these things are not just quick fixes. But what I went to go and see on Tuesday morning was a private sector investor, a data company, who, once they got all of their permissions in place, took 6 weeks to get that kind of and size of power in place that enables them as a data company to be competitive globally and to make sure that they're not relying on diesel generation when we have load shedding. So we've got to make sure we expand this. At the moment, the plan is the 200 megawatts in the city of Cape Town, around about 30 megawatts at smaller municipal air level. How do we up that this year now to much more than that? And then I think the biggest move is going to be how do we enable the private sector to get on board for their own energy needs, and how can that feed into the grid system through wheeling, and also just in each municipality that those private investors also help the other citizens who perhaps are not able to invest in energy solutions. At the same time, we've got to just keep working to make sure that we mitigate this risk. The impact on the economy and jobs is just unbelievably negative, and we've got to mitigate this as quickly as possible.
Premier, how was the city of Cape Town this past festive season? I spoke to the MMC of Gauteng, and he did, admit that it wasn't a happy festive season for some in the province of Gauteng. They spent it in the dark. But I just wonder, with the numbers that you recorded, the tourism attraction out in the city, was the impact of load shedding, any power outages quite significant? Was it felt heavily during this festive season out in the city of Cape Town?
Absolutely. Load shedding, when a visitor comes, if it was a South African visitor coming to our region, they understood. But if it was an international visitor coming to our region, they don't understand what load shedding is all about. And of course, that has a hugely negative effect on the tourism industry, on restaurants not able to deliver product that they would like to deliver to their customers, etc. Although, as I did say, that the city of Cape Town has managed to mitigate quite a lot of the risk. We very luckily have a hydro plant, the Steenbras hydro plant, which enables us to mitigate 2 levels of load shedding, that including the other mitigation measures like those number of people who are already on solar power, and that the city is buying power back from them. But still, it has a huge impact. And of course, the city, remember the city and our coastal towns specifically, they all grew, the population grew massively over this time. So you can feel the pressure on the system. I mean, you could see it even on our pumping systems for water, for sewerage. They are all under huge pressure at this time. Our disaster management teams were forever making sure we're balancing power where we can, getting generators to water pumps, that we can make sure that we are sustaining the services that are needed while we're having this really good recovery in our tourism. We're experiencing 192 direct international flights a week at the moment coming into Cape Town. You can see the cruise line industry is picked up again, and we've got 120 cruise line vessels over the festive season and the summer season coming through Cape Town and some of our ports in the province. So you're absolutely right. The pressure is on, but the teams are mitigating as much as we can. But load shedding, we've got to make sure we get rid of load shedding.
Yeah, absolutely. As you talk about tourism now, you remind me of the point you made earlier on about the visit that you made quite recently. Taylor Technology, I think, is one of the visits that you conducted, Premier, alongside some of your partners. And I think that the issue around small businesses being supported is equally important, because there are jobs that could equally be on the line here should we not mitigate this issue around load shedding. Is this a focus for 2023, ensuring that there are no job losses within the city, particularly due to the impact of load shedding?
So we're still in the finalization process of our budget for this year, and we are looking at various options. How do we incentivize? What do we do to help the SMME sector? Energy is critical. The big players, they are spending lots of money on diesel and generation. The SMME guys are not able to always do that. And if you look at, where the jobs are created in our region, it's the SMME and the SME sector that really are the engine room of jobs. So we've got to find ways in making sure that they can keep their lights on, so that they can continue employing the much needed or recovering from COVID-19 sort of unemployment rates, really bringing it back online. And also a number of, like we've just spoken about, the tourism sector. And the tourism sector is underpinned by thousands of SMMEs, whether it be the small bakery, whether it be the sort of supply line into seafood or fresh vegetables, into the catering sector of tourism, or whether it, whatever those support businesses are, they all are SMEs, and they all need and they all create many, many jobs. So they do need that kind of support. But now we're also moving into another sector, which is the harvest season in the agri sector in a lot of our small towns. And that feeds the economy in a lot of the rural parts of our province. And our markets are international. And if we can't keep the lights on while we are packing product and getting it to market and getting it overseas, if we can't get it to those markets, we will lose those markets to other continents in the world, and we can't afford that. So, the pressure is really, really on us, and across the board in all of the economy.
We'll leave it there, and I appreciate you speaking to me this morning. Western Cape Premier Alan Winde, thank you so much for your time this morning. All right.